Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Advaitam Shavadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Shahagana Lalita Sri Visakhan Vitam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabhandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Panglam Hayate Hirim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Sri Gurun Dinata Hare Krishna. So welcome to all the devotees to our Bhakti Shastri class, English Bhakti Shastri class. And today is one of the very auspicious day in our movement. Yeah, today is the Tirobhava Tithi of Srila Prabhupada, our dear most Srila Prabhupada. 2 weeks ago, I was told by His Holiness Chandramauli Swami about a story that I want to share with all of you here. So in the early days of our movement, devotees are so eager to perform the Sankirtan, to distribute Srila Prabhupada's book, because that's like very dear to Srila Prabhupada. He will be very, very pleased when devotees distributing his book. So there was one devotee who just joined the movement just few days, and immediately the devotees engage him for Sankirtan, taking this devotee out for Sankirtan. So he didn't know much about our philosophy. So when he distributed books, so he showed the book to the people, and then the people saw the writings there, right? A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So this guy asked this new devotee, what is AC stand for? So he didn't know that this AC stand for Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta, Abhay Charanaravinda. So he paused for some time, and then he said that AC means always cool. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Maharaj told me this 2 weeks ago. So, all right, come back to our Bhakti Shastri class. Today we will be discussing the 12th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Just to flash back on our previous discussion about the 11th chapter, the Virat Rupa. Yeah, at the end of the chapter, Krishna concluded the chapter by saying, Mad karma krin mad paramo, but mad bhakta sangavarjita nirvaira sarva bhutesu yasamam eti pandava, where actually Srila Prabhupada interestingly mentioned in his purport that this particular verse is actually the essence of the Gita. Yeah. Why it is the essence of the Gita? We may think that, oh, maybe Sarvadharman Parityaja is the essence of the Gita, or the 15.15 is the essence of the Gita. Yeah. But the point here is that Mad karma krin mad paramo, when Krishna mentioned that dedicate all your work for me, considering me to be the supreme Mad parama. Yeah. Mad bhakta, becoming his devotee. Mad sangavarjita, becoming free from all material attachment. Yeah. Nirvaira sarvabhuteshu, and non-envious to all living entities. Then yasamam eti pandava. So surely, Krishna says, surely you will attain me. So this is the essence of the Gita. What is the essence of the Gita? To know Krishna, to dedicate our lives and ultimately to attain to attain Krishna, to attain his shelter. Yeah. And of course, we discuss about how Arjuna is now fixing his mind toward the original form of the Lord, the Shyama Sundar form of the Lord. So chapter 12 is continuing the end of the chapter 11 by Arjuna's question. So Arjuna will ask here in the first verse, who is better, the impersonalist or the personalist? Because after explaining that, yes, this is the form of the Lord, the highest form of the Lord, now Arjuna is attaching his mind to the Shyama Sundar form of the Lord. But some people may still like to meditate on the impersonal aspect of the Lord. So now Arjuna, once again, he wants to make sure that whether what he is doing, the object of his meditation, is right or not. Of course, we talk about this many times in the 7th chapter, in the 9th chapter, about the impersonalist, the demigod worship. But Arjuna once again asking here just to make sure whether his position is safe or not. Yeah, so that's how this chapter starts. And then after comparing the personalist and impersonalist, Krishna will explain the progression stage of devotional service, but in the unique way. Yeah, in the first 6 chapters, we are studying the yoga ladder, where actually we start from bottom to up, down to up, goes upward. But in this chapter, Krishna will explain from up to down, giving an indication that still every jiva have some chance to approach Krishna. Krishna will say, you perform bhakti. You cannot perform bhakti, okay, dedicate your work to me. That means karma yoga. Still, if you cannot do that, so just cultivate knowledge. So Krishna just going down with the purpose that, yes, still, every jiva get the chance to approach Krishna in whatever capacity that they can. Yeah. And then in the last section of this chapter, Krishna will explain to Arjuna, to all of us, what are the qualities that actually, if one possesses, that will make him very dear to Krishna. Yeah. So that is the synopsis of the chapter. We get the glimpse of the chapter. I'm very confident that we can finish this chapter today. Hopefully I'm not going too much all around as usual. Okay. Yeah. Chapter 12, Devotional Service. The Bhagavad Gita's middle set of 6 chapters began with Krishna discussing bhakti, and Arjuna wants it to end in the same way. After witnessing Krishna's awesome universal form, Arjuna wishes to confirm his own position as a devotee who works for Krishna, as opposed to a jnani who renounces word. So 1 to 7 discussing about bhakti over impersonalism, and then 8 to 12 progressive stages of devotional service. So we start with text number 1. Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? Srila Prabhupada explained, generally, the transcendentalists can be divided into 2 classes. One is the impersonalist and the other is personalist. The personalist devotee engages himself with all energy in the service of the Lord, of the Supreme Lord. The impersonalist also engages himself not directly in the service of Krishna, but in meditation on the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested. Now Arjuna is trying to settle the question of which process is easier and which of the classes is most perfect. In other words, he's clarifying his own position because he's attached to the personal form of Krishna. He's not attached to the impersonal Brahman. He wants to know whether his position is secure. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, that he just wants to make sure that what he's doing is correct. Yeah. Sometimes we have this doubt also, although we have the conviction that yes, what I'm doing is correct, but it is always better to confirm with our authority. Yeah, this is our culture. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned here there are two types of transcendentalists. Now we may wonder that why the Mayavadi, why the impersonal is also considered to be transcendentalist. So the word transcendent means beyond the bodily concept of life. So even the impersonalists also, because they completely understand that they are not the body, so they are also considered to be some sort of transcendentalist, but although it is imperfect, yeah, in the imperfect stage, at least they are completely free from the bodily concept of life. They clearly understand that they are not the body, yeah, they clearly understand that. And in one place, in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that if the impersonalists, they are sincere enough to pursue about the absolute truth, ultimately they will come to the level of Bhagavan realization. Yeah, but still, what Krishna will explain here, that the impersonal path of worship is troublesome. Yeah, kleso adhikata rastesam. We'll see that. But here, of course, we as devotees clearly understand that impersonal is not at all suitable for our practice, for everybody's practice actually. Because as Srila Prabhupada mentioned also that to meditate on voidness is actually impossible, because the nature of the mind will always capture something. You can't really meditate on something void. Therefore, the path is klesa, full of misery. Yeah. So in text 2, Krishna responds to Arjuna's query. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith, are considered by me to be most perfect. Prabhupada explained in answer to Arjuna's question. Krishna clearly says that he who concentrates upon his personal form and who worships him with faith and devotion is to be considered most perfect in yoga. Yeah, this is also confirmed in the last verse of chapter 6. Yeah, yogi nama pisarvesam. Sradhavan bhajate means with full faith. Yeah, Sradhavan bhajate. For one in such Krishna consciousness, there are no material activities because everything is done for Krishna. A pure devotee is constantly engaged. Sometimes he chants, sometimes he hears or read books about Krishna, or sometimes he cooks prasadam or goes to marketplace to purchase something for Krishna, or sometimes he washes the temple or the dishes. Whatever he does not let a single moment pass without devoting his activities to Krishna. Such action is in full samadhi. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada is talking in his purport about practical aspect of our lives in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. And he actually activated these things into his life. Yeah. Like he always chant, he reads even his own book, he cooks. Yeah, he cooks of course for Krishna. There was an injunction in the Shastra that a sannyas should not cook for himself. But of course, Srila Prabhupada, when he came to the US for the first time, he stayed in the house of Gopal Agarwal. Yeah, probably you heard this name, Gopal Agarwal, the husband of Shali Agarwal. So they are the couple who actually received Srila Prabhupada and facilitate Srila Prabhupada staying in the USA when he just arrived. Of course, it's a lot of struggle because Srila Prabhupada said that actually in their fridge full of meat. So somehow or other Prabhupada manages to survive, just to survive. Because Gopal Agarwal is the one who gave the sponsorship letter for Srila Prabhupada to get his visa. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada cooked, of course. And yeah. Anyway, if you hear the tape of Sally Agarwal narrating how Srila Prabhupada was saying, like Sally Agarwal, the wife of Gopal, she said that the Swamiji, the Swamiji, he has his own daily routine fixed. He reads, he have a walk, and then whenever he has free time, he always takes his beads and chant on his rounds. So Srila Prabhupada never wasted his time, not even for a single moment. So sometimes we may think that, oh, yeah, I need an hour or two, to be relaxing, from Krishna consciousness life, to be relaxed. But that's not the case in the life of a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. He always utilizes time fully in Krishna consciousness. Avyarta kala. So here, Krishna, in the second verse, confirmed that yes, meditating on the personal feature of the Lord is actually superior. Text 3 and 4. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed, and immovable, the impersonal concept of the absolute truth by controlling the various senses. And being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engage in the welfare of all at last achieve me. So here, Krishna mentioned that. That's why the verse Bahunam Janmanam Ante is actually referring to the impersonalism. Yeah, after millions of lives, finally, one day they will understand that Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Lord Krishna is the all in all. But that's like really long process. As Krishna mentioned here also, at last achieve me. That means after millions of lifetimes. Prabhupada says, those who do not directly worship the Supreme Godhead, Krishna, but who attempt to achieve the same goal by an indirect process, also ultimately achieve the same goal, Sri Krishna. After many births, the man of wisdom seeks refuge in me, knowing that Vasudeva is all. When a person comes to full knowledge after many births, he surrenders unto Krishna. In order to perceive the super soul in the individual soul, one has to cease the sensual activities of seeing, hearing, tasting, working, etc. When one comes to understand that the Supreme Soul is present everywhere, realizing this, one envies no living entity. He sees no difference between man and animal because he sees soul only, not the outer covering. But for the common man, this method of impersonal realization is very difficult. Very difficult. So one of the quality here that Srila Prabhupada explained that when a person becomes a transcendentalist, he becomes equally disposed to a living entity. Yeah. The 5th chapter, Krishna confirmed in the 5th chapter. Anybody still remember what is the verse? Anybody would like to guess? Amongst all the scholars here. Yeah, Krishna mentioned Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmani Gavihastini Sunichaiva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarsina. So Samadarsina means seeing with the equal vision, whether it is a cow, yeah, Gavi, Hasti, elephant, a dog, or even a dog eater, or a learned Brahmana, an equal vision. Because a Pandita, a real intelligent person will see that actually these are all the same jivas, part and parcel of Krishna. And in their heart, Krishna is manifesting there, sitting as Paramatma. So a person who has this vision is actually a transcendentalist. Unless you become a transcendentalist, you cannot see this vision, seeing the vision, seeing all the living entities in this, because one completely understand that, yes, it is the jiva, just in a different covering. Yeah. So now the next verse will explain that how actually the impersonalist practice is very troublesome. Yeah. Kleso dikataras tesam avyakta sakti chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkam Deha Vadbir Avapyate. So Deha Vadbir means for the embodied, yeah, for the jiva who gets the material gross body. So what Krishna mentioned here, klesha means full of miseries, and dukkham also. Two times Krishna mentioned here, emphasizing the same thing. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. The process of Jnana Yoga, although ultimately bringing one to the same goal, is very troublesome, whereas the path of Bhakti Yoga, the process of being in direct service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is easier and is natural for the embodied soul. Prabhupada gives an analogy here, yeah, about the deity worship, yeah, because we are worshipping the deity form of the Lord. That means Krishna has form, and that form actually non-different from Krishna himself. Yeah, this is the analogy given by Srila Prabhupada. We may find some mailboxes on the street, and if we post our letters in those boxes, they will naturally go to their destination without difficulty. But any old box or an imitation which we may find somewhere, but which is not authorized by the post office, will not do the work. Similarly, God has an authorized representation in the deity form. It's called Archa Vigraha. This Archa Vigraha is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. God will accept service through that form. A person in Krishna consciousness engaged in devotional service simply by guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, simply by offering regulative obeisances unto the deity, simply by hearing the glories of the Lord, and simply by eating the remnants of foods offered to the Lord, realizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead very easily. There is no doubt that the impersonalists are unnecessarily taking a troublesome path with the risk of not realizing the absolute truth at the ultimate end. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada talks here about deity worship. Amazingly, Srila Prabhupada mentioned this deity form is actually the incarnation of Krishna. So just like we may wonder how Krishna, Goloka Evasatyakilat Mabuto, he's fixed in his abode. Yeah. The Brahma Samhita confirmed that he never lived Goloka Vrindavan. But then how Krishna will accept our offering if he's far, far away there? So there is his representation in the form of the deity. So we offer the bhoga, we offer puja, worship, arati in the deity form of the Lord. Yeah. So just like this old method actually. Nowadays maybe hard to find this kind of mailbox, yeah, because everything is in the digital form. Internet is very fast. We can communicate with the people very easily within seconds. But of course, those days, Srila Prabhupada's time, we're still using like letter, this and that. So if we just put our letter in the bona fide box, bona fide letter box, the postman will collect and deliver to the address that we want to send it. So the deity form is an authorized form. So we are worshiping the deities, not worshiping like regular statue, because before worshiping the deity, we install it with some ceremony. We invite Krishna to be present in that deity form. Yeah. So especially when we are offering some food, for example, offering bhoga to the Lord, sometimes we may feel, okay, I just put this food in the front of the deity and chant the mantra, and that's it. But our consciousness should be, yeah, although it may look artificial, but we have to always meditate like this. Okay, as soon as I leave the altar, Krishna will eat it, because Krishna is merciful to me. He will spit out that food again, exactly as how I put it. Yeah. So one time, His Holiness Kadabhakanana Swami Maharaj gave a class. He said that after this lecture, we will have some feast. And I believe that those who come for the first time will say that, wow, this food is wonderful. It's so tasty. And it is true, actually. Many people are experiencing this. And then Maharaj said, I'll tell you a secret, but you should not reveal the secret to those who just came for the first time. Of course, he was making a joke like this. He said that Krishna, eating the food, he swallowed everything. And then Krishna will spit out that food again, and he will add more his saliva into that food. That saliva makes the food even much more tastier. Of course, for the non-devotees, this is like, oh, what? It's so disgusting. But the fact is like that. Krishna adding his saliva into that food that makes the food transcendental. Because there's nothing disgusting about Krishna. Don't reveal this to the newcomer. They may run away immediately. Yeah. All right, text 6, 7. This is how practically a person, a devotee, engage in service to the Lord, and then how Krishna become the swift deliverer for the devotee. Yetu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasamat paraha ananyanaiva yogina mam dhyayanta upasate tasam aham samudharsam rityu samsara sagara bhavamina chirat patha maya visita chetasa. So if we do this, Krishna will become swift deliverer for the devotees. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engage in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Srila Prabhupada says, the Supreme Lord herein promises that without delay, he will deliver a pure devotee, thus engage from the ocean of material existence. Although a man, this is also another beautiful analogy. Although a man who has fallen in the ocean may struggle very hard and may be very expert in swimming, he cannot save himself. But if someone comes and picks him up from the water, then he is easily rescued. Similarly, the Lord picks up the devotee from this material existence. One simply has to practice the easy process of Krishna consciousness and fully engage himself in devotional service. Any intelligent man should always prefer the process of devotional service to all other paths. So this is the process. Devotional service is, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, the easy process of devotional service. Do we really find it easy? Sometimes we complain why there are so many rules and regulations that I have to follow. I cannot do this, I cannot do that. I cannot eat this, I cannot eat that. Is that easy? Well, easy in the sense of much more easier than any other path, such as karma and jnana. Much more easier. But of course, the principle is that no pain, no gain. We cannot practice Krishna consciousness using our own whims without following rules and regulations. So we have to follow Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Pancharatra, Vidimvina, Aikantiki, Harir, Bhakti, Utpattayaiva Kalpate. Those who are performing Harir Bhakti, they have to follow all rules and regulations mentioned in the Shruti and Smriti, in the scriptures. Otherwise, Utpattayaiva Kalpate, simply creating troubles in the society. So yes, easy in that sense, easier compared to any other practices, to attain perfection in life. So Krishna mentioned here, Yetu Sarvani Karmani, dedicate our lives for pleasing Krishna. Yetu Sarvani Karmani, Mayi Sanyasa Matra, be detached. Sannyas means detachment. Mayi Sanyasa Matra. Ananyanaiva Yogina, always connected with yoga, with Krishna. How? Ananya, unadulterated. for Ananya, pure. So in that way, Krishna will become our swift deliverer. Yeah, very soon. How soon? We don't know. Maybe this life, next life, even after 1,000 lives. It is still very soon compared to the time of eternity. Yeah, just like Mukunda Datta, Lord Chaitanya refused to give him darshan, but on the plea of the devotees. So Lord Chaitanya said, yes, you will get darshan after millions of lifetimes. And Mukunda Datta, upon hearing this, he was dancing. Oh, finally, after millions of lifetimes, I will get the Lord's darshan. So he was thinking, these millions of lifetimes, not even a second for Mahavishnu. So what's the big deal? Yeah. So of course we have to strive with great endeavor that makes actually this is our last life. Yeah. Should be our last life. We have to go home. We have to go home to Krishna. So here there is a question. Yeah, from Murari Prabhu. What is the destination of followers of Abrahamic religion like Islam, Christian, Jews, and also other Eastern world religions? Is Islam religion is some sort of impersonalism? Some of the prominent religions strongly believe their faith is perfect with support of their own revealed scriptures. Yeah. So what is their destination? So Krishna clearly mentioned in the 9th chapter. Yanti Deva Brata Devan Pitri Yanti Pitri Brata Utani Yanti Bhuteja Yanti Madhyajino Primam. So depending on who you worship, you will go to that place. So yes, like Muslim is one sort of impersonalism because they don't accept the form of the Lord. Yeah. So what is the destination? Well, will they go to Brahmajyoti? That's also depend on the last stage of their mind. Yeah. Destination is determined by what you think at the end of life. Antakale. Yeah. Even if you are devotee, if you don't think about Krishna at the end of your life, you will not attain Krishna. That's the principle. So destination determined on the last stage of your life. The last stage of your life will be determined on what you perform the most while living in this body. That is a fixed rules. Yeah. You cannot think about Krishna at the end of your life if you commit nonsense throughout your life. The story of Ajamil is unique. Therefore, it is recorded in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And don't think that we are all as special as Ajamil. Yeah. And regarding the Christianity, Jews, this and that. Yeah. So destination depend on the state of mind. And then yeah, Muslim is one sort of impersonalism. And then of course, every religious practice will consider that, yes, their practice is the most perfect, supported by their scriptures. But here is the thing, just like a student on the first grade will think that, yes, what they study is the best. For them, ABC is the best to study. But for the postgraduate, that's nothing. So scriptures will suit the person's levels of consciousness. Yeah. Scriptures, each scripture, right? The Quran, the Torah, the Bibles, the Gita will suit a person's consciousness. Therefore, we see, actually, we don't know, like most of us here, in this forum, that we have the Hindu background. Yeah. Bhagavad Gita is familiar since the first day of our life. So to say like that, because most of us here are Indians. Yeah, all of you are Indian, so you are familiar with this culture. But the Western devotees who came from the Christianity background, Jewish background, like my wife also, she was a Christian, but father also having Jewish background also. So comparing their scriptures. Yeah, no offense to any other religious practice here, comparing to their scriptures, and then after they became devotee and reading the Bhagavad Gita especially, they say that actually Bhagavad Gita is actually containing whatever mentioned in their scriptures and actually much more complete, much more complete. Yeah. For example, here, how many times we discussed about the impersonalism? The Quran talk about impersonalism. Yeah. Here, the Gita also talk about it, but giving much more clear understanding in which they are situated. We may not experiencing, but those devotees, Western devotees, yeah, who came from different backgrounds, like Christianity especially, they admitted that actually yes, our philosophy in Krishna consciousness much more perfect, yeah, much more perfect. So scriptures will suit to the level of one's consciousness. Sometimes even the Christianity, they're not feeling satisfied with the Bible. Their queries not completely uh, answered in their scriptures. Therefore, the sincere seeker, yeah, ultimately they will end up in Krishna consciousness. That's the fact. Yeah? And many devotees admitted this fact. Yeah? So yes, it is supported by their revealed scriptures, but if they are sincere to pursue uh, spiritual life to the higher level, higher understanding, so they will end up in Krishna consciousness. Okay, up to this section, Krishna already giving a clear indication to Arjuna that yes, devotional service, meditate upon the form of the Lord is much more superior than impersonalism. Yeah. And this is the practical way how we can engage ourselves in Krishna consciousness. So now, from text 8 to 12, Krishna will describe about the progressive stages of devotional service. Yeah. Krishna described in the reverse order the progressive path leading to pure devotional service. He first advises the devotee to fix his mind constantly on him. If one cannot do that, one should purify oneself by following the rules and regulation of Bhakti Yoga. If that is too difficult, one may engage in Karma Yoga, giving up the fruits of work to Krishna. If one cannot even follow this practice, then he recommends the indirect path, which begins with renouncing of work and leads to knowledge and meditation. Text number 8. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. Now, this is the topmost level, yeah, of samadhi, constant meditation in the form of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada explained, a devotee does not live on the material plane. He lives in Krishna. The holy name of the Lord and the Lord are not different. Therefore, when the devotee chants Hare Krishna, Krishna and his internal potency are dancing on the tongue of a devotee. When he offers Krishna food, Krishna directly accepts these eatables, and the devotee becomes Krishna eyes by eating the remnants. Yeah. So this is the process. Atasi Krishna Namadi, Nabhave Grahya Sewan Mukhe Jivada. Yeah. Sewan Mukhe Jivada, engaging the tongue in the chanting and also tasting prasadam. Yeah. So become Krishna, the devotee becomes Krishna eyes. Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, Krishna eyes. We don't find this in the English dictionary, yeah, Krishna eyes. But Srila Prabhupada creates this word. That means we become Krishnas. We become Krishnas. We become spiritualized, transcendentalized, Krishna eyes. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada is so expert in using his word, yeah, to make it accessible for our brain. So this is the process, yeah, chanting and tasting prasadam. So meditation, constant meditation is the topmost. Yeah, never forget Krishna. And then the next verse, text number 9, Krishna says, "My dear Arjun, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain." Yeah. To practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, one should, under the guidance of an expert spiritual master, follow certain principles. One should rise early in the morning, take bath, enter the temple, and offer prayers and chant Hare Krishna. Then collect flowers to offer the deity, cook food stuff to offer to the deity, take prasadam, and so on. This practice of Bhakti Yoga under the rules and regulation with direction of spiritual master will surely bring one to the stage of love of God. Yeah. So Prabhupada is so practical in his purport here. Even he mentioned collecting flower. I never thought that Srila Prabhupada would mention collecting flowers in his purport. Yeah. So first Krishna mentioned constant meditation. And Srila Prabhupada explained how to do that by constant chanting. If one cannot do that, so follow the devotional service in regulation under the guidance of bona fide spiritual master. Therefore, one may argue that Prabhu in the Kali Yuga, the Yuga Dharma is chanting of the holy names. Why we perform deity worship, which is actually performed in the previous Yuga? This is the answer here. Why? Because we cannot constantly meditate upon Krishna. We cannot constantly holding our beads like Srila Haridas Thakur. We need some other engagement. We feel bored that, oh, 16 rounds completed, then I need another engagement. Yeah. If we can sit and chant throughout the day like Haridas Thakur, you don't need to worship the deity. Because Krishna, in the form, the holy name, is actually not different with his form. Yeah. So why we need to be engaged in other activities like worshiping the deities, cooking, cleaning, collecting flowers, this and that, in order to engage our senses, to withdraw our senses, to withdraw our mind, then we can think about Krishna. So Krishna now giving one method after another method. You cannot do this, do that. You cannot do that, do another way. The main thing is that you practice religious activities in which actually you may stay connected to the Lord. Text number 10. If you cannot, Krishna mentioned again here. It seems here Krishna is very merciful to us, yeah? Giving a lot of discount. When we buy something in the shop and we get big discount, we feel happy. So Krishna is doing the same here. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Prabhupada. There are many devotees who are engaged in the propagation of Krishna consciousness and they require help. So even if one cannot directly practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, he can try to help such work. Every endeavor requires land, capital, organization, and labor. Just as in business, one requires a place to stay, some capital to use, some labor, and some organization to expand. So the same is required in the service of Krishna. The only difference is that in materialism, one works for sense gratification. The same work, however, can be performed for the satisfaction of Krishna, and that is spiritual activity. Yeah. So Prabhupada mentioned here, yes, you cannot engage directly in the service of the Lord. You can support those who are preaching Krishna consciousness. Yeah. I remember how Brahmananda Prabhu narrating his story that after he and Garga Muni Prabhu became a devotee, so now they stay in the temple. And then one day their mother came to the temple and Srila Prabhupada gave her a chair to sit and all of them sit on the floor. Yeah. Prabhupada respect her so much. And then they talk, and then before she leaves, Srila Prabhupada said that, so I'm taking care of your boys very nicely. I feed them, I educate them. So can you give a donation? Can you give some donation to support me to take care of your children? And then Brahmananda Prabhu's mother said that, donation? I already donated my sons to you. And Prabhupada said, oh, yeah, yeah, yes, yes, very good, very good. So here's the thing, Srila Prabhupada would always give the chance to the people, encourage them, to support the movement. Yeah. Yeah, she said that I already donated my son. Yeah. Here is practical aspect. As Srila Prabhupada mentioned, just like in the business, we need place to stay, we need capital, we need money. So it is not that spiritual life means we are ignoring wealth, we are ignoring money. No, we are very expert in utilizing money, because Lakshmi should be engaged in Krishna's service. Otherwise, that paper is simply a paper it is used for sense gratification. Why devotee? Well, some devotees still mention the word money, but most of us would say Lakshmi, because that money is Lakshmi. Lakshmi is engaged in Krishna's service. Otherwise, it's just simply a piece of paper for your sense gratification. Yeah. Text 11. Again, another discount from Krishna. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated. Yeah, Prabhupada say, it may be that one is unable even to sympathize with the activities of Krishna consciousness because of social, familiar, or religious consideration, or because of some other impediments. If one attaches himself directly to the activities of Krishna consciousness, there may be objections from family members or so many other difficulties. For one who has such a problem, it is advised that he sacrifice the accumulated result of his activities to some good cause. That is also recommended here, because by the practice of giving up the fruits of one's activities, one is sure to purify his mind gradually. And in that purified stage of mind, one becomes able to understand Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, for some good cause, means to support Krishna consciousness movement in whatever way we can. Because objection will be always there. Family, your parents. Well, you're lucky if your parents are devotees, but in most of the cases, I used to tell my friend, when I invite my friend to our house program, so I told him that please come for kirtan, and then we will read together and we eat prasadam. And he said that, oh, what if my parents ask? What should I say? Just tell that you go to watch movie, because parents happy when their kids to go out watching movie with his friends. So I told, but I'm lying. It's okay. You lie for Krishna. That's fine. Yeah. So like that, objection will be always there. Government objection. They don't like us. But here's the thing. If somehow or other we cannot connect ourselves directly, so just give financial support. Give back for the good cause. Give back to Krishna. Text number 12. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation. And better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of action, for by such renunciation one can attain peace of mind. So this is the last solution given by Krishna. Just cultivate knowledge. By knowledge, one can be able to understand his real position. Gradually, knowledge will develop to the point of meditation. By meditation, one can be able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by gradual process. In the cultivation of knowledge, there are processes which make one understand that one himself is the Supreme. And that sort of meditation is preferred if one is unable to engage in devotional service. So ultimately, this is coming back to the impersonalism. Yeah. the Mayavadi will think that he is God. But of course, that is like much way better than simply enjoying the senses. Yeah, simply enjoying the senses. Cultivate knowledge, become a Jnana. In summary, to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest goal, there are two processes. One process is by gradual development, and the other process is direct. Devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the direct method. The direct process is not possible for everyone. Therefore, the indirect process is also good. But as far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, it is the direct method that is stressed. Everyone is advised to take the direct method and surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Yeah. So that is the end of this section where Krishna described the progressive stages of devotional service from up to down, giving us hope. Yeah, you cannot do this. Ultimately, Krishna advised us at the end, cultivate knowledge. Knowledge means spiritual knowledge. What is the advantage of cultivating spiritual knowledge? Please study again the 4th chapter of the Gita. Yeah, toward the end, Krishna mentioned that apichet asipapevya sarvebhya papakritamaha sarvam jnanam plave naiva vrijina santareses. Means that sarve papevya apichet asipapevya. Even Krishna says, even if you are the most sinful person amongst all the sinners, that means you are the sinful person number one. Yeah. Sarvebhya papa kritamaha sarvam jnanam plavenaiva. Simply by cultivating transcendental knowledge, spiritual knowledge, plava means to cross over. You will cross over this material existence by having this knowledge, because Krishna mentioned here, by cultivating knowledge, will come to the level of meditation ultimately. Even if in the beginning we meditate that yes, oneself is the supreme. This is kind of Mayavadi philosophy, but later on one will realize that yes, actually there is a higher being, and that is Krishna. Okay, so there is always hope for everybody here. Yeah. So that's the end of this section. In the beginning, Krishna explained the superiority of devotion against impersonal worship, and here Krishna is explaining how devotional service can be performed, how one can connect to Krishna according to his capacity. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada very beautifully explained the practical way how we can engage ourselves in Krishna consciousness. Very, very practical. Yeah. So this movement is not simply dry philosophy, but we put our philosophy into practice. So up to this point, whether the question or comments. If not, we can continue. So from text 13 to 20, Krishna will explain the qualities, yeah, that will endear us to Krishna. Actually, I will not speak too much on this part. You can read it. All Srila Prabhupada's purport is clear. Yeah, that if we cultivate one after another, Krishna will say that if you cultivate this, like for example, like in the text 13 and 14, Advaita Sarvabhutana Maitra Karuna Evacha Nirmamo Nirahankara Samaduka Sukam Dira Samaduka Sukakshami Santuta Satatam Yogi. Krishna mentioned that Yomad Bhakta Same Priyaha. That means Yomad Bhakta Same Priyaha. For a devotee who cultivate these qualities, Same Priyaha, he will be very dear to me. And in every sloka, Krishna will mention that Same Priyaha, Same Priyaha, Same Priyaha. He is very dear to me, very dear to me, very dear to me. Yeah. So these qualities will be make us dear to Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mathura Pativu, please.
Prabhuji, why does Krishna give a lot of options and choices?
Sorry?
Why does Krishna gives Arjuna a lot of choices, Prabhu? Options, if not this, if not that.
Yeah.
Is the question.
Thank you. Why does Krishna give so many options, choices? Because not every jiva can directly accept devotional service directly. Yeah. Just like if you force a first grade student to study like postgraduate matter, so he's not ready. So here is that Krishna is treating the disease of a person to the level of that disease. So he gives appropriate medicine. So he gives appropriate method depending on the level of one's consciousness. If you're not ready to directly taking up devotional service, then work for Krishna. That's much more better. Yeah. If still you cannot, then Krishna gives another method, cultivate knowledge. Yeah. So the reason why the reason is that because he loves every living entity. Samoham sarvabhutesu namedvesastina priyaham. He loves all living entities. He gives different method by which actually they can come to Krishna, although one may come quicker and another comes slower. But the point here is that he wants all of us to go back home, back to Godhead. Yeah. So all these processes, different paths, is actually given by Krishna for us to ultimately upgrade our position to the level of pure devotional service. And the only reason is that because he loves us. That's it.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, text 13 to 20. Qualities that endear one to Krishna. Having described the stages of devotion, Krishna now enumerates the transcendental qualities automatically achieved by a bhakti yogi, which endear the devotee to Krishna. Pointing out these qualities further substantiates the theme of chapter 12, that bhakti is the best method of spiritual advancement. Krishna concludes that anyone who faithfully follows the path of devotional service, making him the supreme goal, is very dear to him. The question of who is better, the personalist or the impersonalist, is resolved, and devotional service is considered the ultimate process of spiritual realization. Yeah. So this is the verse that I just quoted a few moments ago, where Krishna mentioned here, Advesta Sarvabhutana. Dvesta means envy, but Advesta means non-envious. Yeah. Sarvabhutana Maitra Karu. Maitra means making friendship. Yeah. One who is not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service. With determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. Yeah. Yomad Bhakta Same Priya. Yeah. Prabhupada emphasized the word nirmama. Nirmama means that the devotee does not attach much importance to the pains and troubles pertaining to the body, because he knows perfectly well that he is not a material body. So the first thing that Krishna mentioned here is that advesta means non-envious. One of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, his name is Madhudvisa. Yeah, Madhudvisa, probably you know him. Madhudvisa. So when he got this name, so he was asking Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, what is my name, the meaning of my name, Madhudvisa? And Prabhupada said, Madhu is a demon and Dvisa means envious. So Madhudvisa means Krishna, who is envious of this demon called Madhu. And then he was asking, so Prabhupada, is it okay for Krishna to be envious? And Prabhupada said, yeah, he can be envious. Prabhupada said, yeah, he can be envious, but envious of demon, who's giving trouble to the devotees. And even when Krishna kills the demon, still benefiting the lives of that demon. So even Krishna seemingly envious, but actually he's so merciful. And Krishna says, yeah, he can be envious, but that envy is a transcendental envy. Yeah, cannot be compared with our envious nature that we just want to pull down somebody's leg. We feel hurt when somebody gets success. This is our envious. But Krishna is envious in the way of he gives his mercy. Yeah. So Prabhupada said, yes, Krishna can be envious, but transcendental envy. But this envy that mentioned by Krishna here is materialistic envy. Prabhupada says, so this Krishna consciousness movement means how to become dear to Krishna, how Krishna will love me. Devotion means the activities. My Guru Maharaj used to say that you don't try to see God, just try to understand. Just work in such a way that God may see you. So this is a very famous quote, yeah, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. This is the Krishna consciousness movement. Everyone is busy to see God. Of course, it is not so easy to see God. But the devotee is not busy to see God, but he wants God to see him. Because just like if you are working in some establishment, if you are working very nicely, faithfully, then the proprietor will automatically see you. Don't try to see the proprietor. Work in such a way that the proprietor will be inclined. Well, this man is working very nicely. Who is this man? Yeah. So this is our process. Yeah, engage in Krishna service. So Krishna will pay attention. Text number 15. He by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety is very dear to me. Since the devotee is kind to everyone, he does not act in such a way as to put others into anxiety. At the same time, if others try to put the devotee into anxiety, he is not disturbed. It is by the grace of the Lord that he is so practiced that he is not disturbed by any outward disturbance. Yeah. So here is the quality, a unique quality of a devotee. Yeah. He is not disturbed and he doesn't give any disturbances. One time in London, Srila Prabhupada, in the manor, yeah, Bhaktivedanta man, he was sitting in the park, in the front of the temple, he was sitting in the park. And then in that park, next to that park, there was a, what do you call this? Not an airport, but kind of field where people just try their uh, private jet, you know. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada was sitting there, and then these people who is exhibiting their jet sky, you know, making so much noise. So Srila Prabhupada keep talking, and then the devotees looking at each other and thinking that let's advise Srila Prabhupada to move from this place because it's so noisy. Prabhupada may feels uncomfortable. And then finally, one devotee speak out, Prabhupada, this aeroplane is making so much noise. What do you think? Prabhupada said, yes, they are making so much noise. Then what is the problem? You don't worry. In the next life, they will become a mosquito. Yeah, because you see, at night, if you try to sleep and there is mosquito in your ear, it's so disturbing, you know, like that. Prabhupada was not at all disturbed at the time. And Prabhupada said, what is the problem? You don't worry, Prabhupada said to the devotees, you don't worry, next life they will become mosquito. Yeah. So Prabhupada is unpredictable, I would say, unpredictable. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada get upset. In some other times, Srila Prabhupada remain calm and dealing with the circumstances in a way that surprising the devotees. Text number 16. My devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure expert without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me. Money may be offered to a devotee, but he should not struggle to acquire it. If automatically, by the grace of the Supreme, money comes to him, he is not agitated. He is never pained because he is free from all designation. He knows that his body is a designation. So if there are some bodily pains, he is free. The pure devotee does not endeavor for anything which is against the principles of devotional service. For example, constructing a big building requires great great energy, and the devotee does not take such business if if it does not benefit him by advancing his devotional service. He may construct a temple for the Lord, and for that he may take all kinds of anxiety, but he does not construct a big house for his personal retaliation. For his own comfort, the devotee doesn't really care. How in the early days of Mayapur, Tamal Krishna Maharaj narrating that Srila Prabhupada, we still don't have proper toilet. There's no this kind of Western toilet with the flash, or even like what we have, regular toilet, Indian toilet. But those days still they just dig the ground and just cover with the straw. So, and with the jute stick, the wall using jute stick. So Srila Prabhupada used that toilet in the beginning here in Mayapur. For his own comfort, he doesn't really care. But we see how much Srila Prabhupada fighting with Mr. Nair for his project in Juhu. He was fighting so much. Mr. Nair just go back and forth. He didn't want to sign the letter of agreement to sell the land. But this is also narrated by Tamal Krishna Maharaj that one day, so Srila Prabhupada met with Mr. Nair. So Mr. Nair has the feeling that Srila Prabhupada will ask him to sign this agreement letter. So that time, Mr. Nair brought his guru also to protect him. So now they just talk casually, and then at night, when they are taking rest, Srila Prabhupada woke up Tamal Krishna Maharaj and asked him, now you wake up Mr. Nair, but don't wake up the guru. Okay, because this guru has the kind of some sort of basic power that can protect Mr. Nair. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj went to his room and wake him up very gently. Hey, Mr. Nair, wake up, wake up. Prabhupada wants to see you. But he said that, but don't wake up your guru. He's very tired. Let him to take rest. Then he just brought Mr. Nair to Srila Prabhupada's room, and Prabhupada preached to him for about an hour and tried to convince him to sign this. And then Tamal Krishna Maharaj said that, so after an hour, so he agreed to sign. And as soon as he agreed to sign his letter, Prabhupada said, take the paper. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj, but we have not typed the agreement. Prabhupada said, it's all right, just make him to sign this paper first. Mr. Nair signed the paper, and then Prabhupada grabbed that paper and said, now you can take rest. So the agreement letter is typed after Mr. Nair signed it. So he didn't really know what is there in the letter. But the point here is that Prabhupada makes him to sign that paper. Yeah. So Prabhupada fought so much. And then when Prabhupada was given a massage by Srutakirti Prabhu, so one devotee came to report that Mr. Nair passed away. Prabhupada was so happy. He slapped his own lap, and said, Jai! And Srutakirti asked, Prabhupada, why you are so happy? Somebody passing away, you are so happy. And Prabhupada said, this person is demon. He's a Kamsa in our movement. Yeah. So the point here is that for his own comfort, Srila Prabhupada didn't really care. But for Krishna, he will fight. He will construct palace. Yeah. So Yomad Bhakta Same Priyaha, very dear to Krishna. Text number 17. One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who is neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things. Such a devotee is very dear to me. A pure devotee is neither happy nor distressed over material gains and loss, nor is he very much anxious to get a son or disciple, nor is he distressed by not getting them. If he loses anything which is very dear to him, he does not lament. Yeah, naso chati nakang sati. 18 and 19. One who is equal to friends and enemies. Now, this is very difficult, How can you treat your enemies as good as your friends unless you are a great devotee? Yeah? Who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge and who is engaged in devotional service. Such a person is very dear to me. Silent does not mean that one should not speak. Silent means that one should not speak nonsense. Yeah. So mauna, for us, mauna means Krishna Katha. So yeah, this is the qualities. So many great qualities listed by Krishna here. But being equal to your enemy and friends, toward happiness and distress, honor and dishonor, this is hard. This is sometimes when we feel that I'm senior, during the arati, you should get the first fire to be touched. Yeah. You should get it first. When a devotee give the person next to you, because you think that you are senior, you feel hurt. You feel hurt, yeah. But to be equal with honor and dishonor, this is a great quality. Another pastime of Srila Prabhupada. I don't know, somehow all this time, whenever I give classes, even in the temple, so I love to tell Srila Prabhupada's pastime. So one devotee, his name is Sauri Das, Srila Prabhupada's disciple. Yeah, he lives here many, many years in Mayapur. Now he's not here. So he tells that one time during an arati, so when he took the fire, so first he distributes to all the devotees, and at last he gives to Srila Prabhupada, because he thinks that the special person will be given last, And then when he got the water also like that, he sprinkled to all the heads of the devotees, and at last he springs to Srila Prabhupada. And then when he gets the flower, he gives all the devotees to smell, and then Srila Prabhupada at last. And Prabhupada, each time he just folded his hands and saying thank you. And later on, he was chastised by his senior that, why did you do that? First, you have to give to Srila Prabhupada, and then we get all the maha from Srila Prabhupada. But he was thinking, genuinely, he was thinking, first, I want to give this to all the devotees, and I will offer everything at last to Srila Prabhupada. Of course, Srila Prabhupada didn't feel offended because he knew how he was sincere. He was innocent. He was a new devotee. He was so innocent. If I was Srila Prabhupada, I would chastise him in the first place. Yeah, but Srila Prabhupada is being a pure devotee. He's managing, honor and dishonor, isn't it? Which is actually very difficult. When somebody praise you, oh Prabhu, such a nice lecture, nice prasadam, you feel happy. But if somebody say, oh, who cooked prasadam today? Too much salt. Immediately you will hide. You will hide probably, because you are not ready to be humiliated in the public. Okay, here in the chat section from Ramakrishna. Should one possess all the quality cumulatively, or even one among them, so that we become dear to Krishna? If we can possess all the quality, that would be very, very wonderful. Yeah. But something is better than nothing. Yeah. Therefore, in each verse, Krishna mentioned, Same Priyaha, Same Priyaha. If you just cultivate this, you will be very, very dear to me. Just like we think like this, devotional service in our daily life, should we perform all devotional services? Like we go out for Sankirtan, we do temple worship, food for life, this and that, cleaning. If you can do all those, that would be great. But if you just can perform one also great. Yeah. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj said that this verse, the Navavida Bhakti, he mentioned that, what is that? I have to recite the whole verse. Shravanam Kirtanam Vinu
Shravanam
Smaranam
Kirtanam
Padam.
Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam.
Ite Pumsar Pita Vishnu. Pumsar Pita Vishnu Bhaktische Navalakshana Kriyeta Bhagavatiyada. So Prahlad Maharaj said these 9 items is considered to be 9 processes of devotional service. Even if one perform once out of these 9, still he's considered to be Tanmanye Dhitam Uttamam. He's considered to be very, very intelligent. So if we can cultivate all the qualities, that would be wonderful. And if we cannot, even if we cultivate one and connect that in Krishna consciousness, Krishna will be very dear to us. The point here is that all these qualities should be good qualities, should be connected to Krishna. Yeah. Some people may behave nicely, looks like non-envious to others, but if he's not a devotee, then what is the use? Yeah. So all these qualities, if we can, that would be wonderful. But if we cannot, if 1, 2, 3, 4, we can cultivate, that also will make us dear to Krishna. Anyway, this electricity is on and off, so I'll just read the last verse. Yeah, now text number 20. Those who follow, finally Krishna mentioned here, those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service if we add our devotion with all these qualities, that would be very wonderful. Simply possessing these good qualities without devotion to Krishna, that's useless. So the point here is that good qualities along with devotion to Krishna and engage that in Krishna service. That's why Krishna mentioned here, very, very dear to me. In the previous verses, he just mentioned very dear to me, very dear to me. But here, very, very dear. The question of who is better, one who is engaged in the path of impersonal Brahman, or one who is engaged in the personal service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was raised by Arjun, in the beginning of the chapter. And the Lord replied to him so explicitly that there is no doubt that devotional service to the personality of Godhead is the best of all processes of spiritual realization. In other words, in this chapter, it is decided that through good association, one develops attachment for pure devotional service and thereby accepts a bona fide spiritual master, and from him begins to hear and chant and observe the regulated principles of devotional service with faith, attachment, and devotion, and thus becomes engaged in transcendental service of the Lord. One need not bother about materials to keep body and soul together, because by the grace of the Lord, everything is carried out automatically. Yeah. So here, the supremacy of devotional service is concluded here by Krishna. And how devotional service should be performed, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, by taking guidance under bona fide spiritual master. Yeah. And Srila Prabhupada tried to convince us here in the last part of his purport. One should not bother about the necessity of the body. Simply by sincerely engaged in devotional service, automatically will be fulfilled. Yeah. I just want to read one more quote of Srila Prabhupada from his lecture. Therefore, Krishna directly says how you can become devotee or dear to him. Or, in other words, how you will be seen by Krishna. Krishna is seeing you, seeing your activities, but especially to take care of you. Yeah, to take care of you. Krishna takes care. As soon as you become a devotee, immediately he takes care of you. Yeah. What are the 9 symptoms of fully surrender? So, how's that verse start? Anukulya sasankalpa pratikulya savarjavam raksis yatiti viswaso. So raksis yatiti viswaso. Person convinced that Krishna will always protect him. Raksis yatiti viswaso. God tripte. Krishna is the only maintainer. So just to conclude on this section, from the beginning we discussed from the 7th chapter how Krishna mentioned Maya Sakta Manapata Yoga Yunjan Madasvaya. Devotional service immediately touch in the first verse, and how touching by hearing. And throughout the section we discussed so much about devotional service. Hearing is very important. In the 8th chapter, Srila Prabhupada mentioned so much about chanting, how to attain the Supreme. The 9th chapter, cultivating knowledge, transcendental knowledge. The most secret of all knowledge is devotional service. And in chapter 10, we discuss about the Chatusloki Gita. That's the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 11 about establishing Krishna to be the Supreme by exhibiting the Virat Rupa form to defeat the people in the future, those who may claim to be God. And today we discuss about devotional service is the supreme method in achieving perfection in life. Okay, so that's the end of our middle 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. So thank you so much, all the devotees. I will not go to the 13th chapter because it's almost 7 o'clock. I want to go to the temple for Guru Puja, today's special day. And we are bringing Srila Prabhupada from the temple to his Samadhi. Today's like big festival. Anyway, all this time, Kartik, so many festivals. Govardhan Puja, and this Rasa Purnima will come soon. Okay. So will we have class on Wednesday, Mataji? I mean, I'm okay with this kind of pattern, Wednesday, Saturday, it's good for me.
So probably if we can get an estimate probably of the number of sessions you'll need approximately for 13 to 18, then we can, if we feel we can complete by December by just doing Saturday classes, then we can cancel the Wednesday. If you feel we need a little bit more time, then we can use probably a few more Wednesday sessions.
Let's say if we follow this kind of pattern, we try to finish 1 chapter per week.